of what the different cell types that we have in our body. So we have what's called either sex cells or non-sex cells. So your sex cells are going to be, if you're a female, your sex cell is going to be an egg. And if you're a male, your sex cell is going to be sperm. All other cells in your body are known as body cells or your non-sex cells. So I have examples listed here. So as long as it's not egg and sperm, it's going to be a body cell. Muscle, liver, kidney, bone, blood, lung, heart, brain, etc. Here are the notes that we did on Tuesday, January 4th together. If you have not taken these notes, you will need to get these notes down. You can either print this notes page off or you can handwrite them on your own piece of paper. But again, these were already taken if you were at school on Tuesday, January 4th. For DNA, DNA we know is our genetic material of the cell. Remember, every cell, regardless of the cell type, is going to have DNA in order to function. So remember, we have our two cell types, eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells have DNA located inside the nucleus. Remember, that is the specialized compartment that holds on to the DNA. And if you recall, eu rhymes with new because eukaryotes do have a nucleus. On the other hand, prokaryotic cells have DNA that is free-floating. That means they do not have the specialized compartment. They do not have that nucleus to hang on to the DNA. So I'm going to say DNA is free-floating within the cell. And if you recall, pro rhymes with no because prokaryotes do not have a nucleus. So now that we've went over past information from the last semester, we're going to be talking about the two forms of DNA. The two forms of DNA are chromatin and chromosomes. The DNA within the cell will either be in one of those two forms. It just depends on where the cell is at within its cell cycle. In other words, where it's at within its stages it goes through until the cell essentially shuts itself off. So we will discuss the cell cycle more later on this week, but just know it's going to flip-flop between these two forms. When we talk about chromatin, chromatin is the decondensed version or form of DNA. What this means is the DNA exists in long, thin strings. So it looks something like this. In other words, it's going to look like squiggles underneath the microscope. So let's go over here to chromosomes. We're going to be spending a lot of time talking about chromosomes in biology class. Chromosomes are the condensed form of DNA. And what this means is the DNA exists in very tight coils. In other words, the DNA is kind of scrunched up. Think of it kind of like a slinky, right? The DNA in the chromatin form would be like the slinky stretched out really far. And then when the slinky scrunches up, that would be those very tight coils kind of closely knit together. Something like this. Let's talk about the human chromosome numbers. So each human body cell, we just said that is a non-sex cell. Let me erase that. Different color. Each human body cell will contain a total of 46 chromosomes. And bear with me with my handwriting. I'm getting used to this new app as I am recording this down. So there's going to be 23 pairs of chromosomes. So visually, if we look here, mom will have in mom's egg cell, that is mom's sex cell, she will have 23 chromosomes. Dad's sperm cell will have 23 chromosomes. And together they make a full number 46. That is all of your body cells or your non-sex cells. So again, that's mom. That's dad. So let me go back over here and record. So one set of 23 chromosomes is inherited from mom's egg cell. And one set of 23 chromosomes is inherited from dad's sperm cell. There we go. Now that we went over the numbers that are within a human body cell or within a sex cell, let's talk about karyotypes. So we have been talking about karyotypes all of last week. We started practicing those, but a karyotype is simply a picture of a person's chromosomes. In other words, if we were able to take a blood cell, someone's blood cell, and we extracted the DNA from that blood cell, we could take out all of the DNA and look at this person's chromosomes. And so you can see the two pictures down at the bottom would be two examples. So one of those examples is going to represent a male, and one of those examples is going to represent a female. Now, if we extract a blood cell, which is a non-sex cell, that means we should have a total of 46 chromosomes, or the 23 pairs, unless a person has a chromosome disorder. So in the next video, I'll be talking about how we would know if someone does have a chromosome disorder, but everyone should have a total of 46 chromosomes. If we have too much information, in other words, someone inherited more chromosomes than what they should have, or a person didn't inherit enough, then that means they're going to be missing some of their chromosomes. And so that number 46 is going to be off. Now, you can notice here there are 23 pairs down in those pictures. So each pair of chromosomes will consist of one chromosome. Let me draw a line there. One chromosome from mom and one chromosome from dad. If I go down below, I'm going to highlight that so you can see visually what I'm talking about here. So notice there's 23 pairs. I'm going through and highlighting one of those chromosomes in that pair as mom's, to represent mom's chromosome. And then blue for dad. And don't worry about these chromosomes looking crooked or bent. Nothing is wrong with them. It's just how they are in this particular picture, how they are on the, the microscope slide. It's just how they're laying. Okay, that don't worry about that. Now, here in this image, pairs 1 to 22 are going to be classified as autosomal chromosomes. So autosomal chromosomes are pairs, 1 to 22. Those do not have anything to do with a person's biological sex or gender. The last pair, pair 23, notice it is not labeled with a number. Pair 23, they're called the sex chromosomes. The reason being is that is going to tell us the gender or the biological sex of that person. So depending on what is sitting there at the 23rd spot, that's going to tell us what it is or who it is. So if I see a chromosome over the X spot or an X chromosome, and I see a chromosome over the Y spot right here, so that's what I'm looking at, XY would mean male. I'm looking at a male. And I'll just put determines biological sex. Okay, let's take a look further down at the bottom. This is example number 2. Again, I'm going to highlight one chromosome in each pair. Let's just say mom's chromosome here is first. And dad's is here. Again, you can see you get half your info from mom, half your info from dad. Now, same with the male above, pairs 1 to 22. Those are called the autosomal chromosomes. And the 23rd pair, there is not going to be a number 23 down there, but you know it's the 23rd pair because you will see the letters X and the letters Y. Now, in this case, for our sex chromosomes, notice I have 2 chromosomes sitting over the X spot. I have one here and one here. When I have XX, that is going to be a female. If you have any questions about any of this information, please email me or message me and I would be happy to help.